Hey, welcome back to another episode of Focused Encounters. I am so excited about this interview. The gentleman that I have sitting next to me here is an awesome guy. I met him a few months ago at a men's conference, which was the Summit Men's Conference hosted by Tony Rory. And I didn't realize who he was till he actually got up to speak. This guy, I'm not even going to get into all that because I want him to talk about it. So let me introduce you to him. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting next to Mr. Derrick Culpepper.
All right. Thank you, man.
You're welcome, man.
Glad to come today,
And
man.
Thank you very much for opening up your home.
Absolutely.
That was awesome,
Absolutely.
man. To come in and see Miss Linda out there playing and come in, man. That is why we're seeing so much going on these days, man.
Yes,
fathers being so active, and I thank God that I was able to connect with you and knowing who you are and more about who you are.
Right.
So today, man, we're here to get into a little bit more about what we had talked about previously, man.
Yes, sir.
But before we get into that, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, man. I'm excited. I'm alive, and as the old people would say, it's better to be seen than to be viewed. So I'm doing all right. I'm here. I'm above ground, so I'm all right. Yes, sir. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Man. I saw you definitely take the time out to be healthy. You were working out. I know you do a lot more than that, man, but you continue to, I don't want to say continue to push the envelope in everything that's going on in your life, especially when it comes to the men. And that is one of the reasons we're here today.
Yes.
But the first thing, though, that I would like us to talk about is fatherhood. Fatherhood, I'll tell you what it means to me, man, is being able to see not just your seed, but the younger generation, and having that responsibility over them, but also being able to interact with them in a way to allow them to grow and come into a new future, a future, of course, that we don't have, but something that's right there in front of them. Tell me what you think about it.
My perspective of fatherhood is that, I'm the father in the outfit, and it's my responsibility to take care of the seed that I produce.
Yes, sir.
It's my responsibility to see the child through all the way through life, man. And so it's my commitment, commitment to take care of what I have planted.
Yes, sir.
And what has grown and come out.
What are you seeing coming out right now?
What am I seeing right now? I'm seeing that my kids are being an example of what I have showed them. So in other words, I take responsibility, right? I take responsibility. If my wife and I got married, had children, they're my responsibility.
Yes,
so it's my job to be the leader. It's my job to show them the way. It's my job to be there. That was a commitment that I made before they even came out the womb. And so that commitment I take very seriously, and it's my job to be there day after day for our children. And we have 3 of them.
And Derrick, Linda, and
Christine. That's
Christine.
It. Derrick, Linda, and
That's
Christine.
awesome, man. And that responsibility is so great to have. A lot of people, unfortunately, do not take that mantle on. But there are other individuals, other men and women as well that definitely do what God has called them to do.
Right.
To stand in that gap and or be that covering, that head, that nurturing individual in their life, man. And I see you are on the forefront of helping men continue and be better in their fatherhood.
Yes.
What do you do specifically in your house to exemplify the fatherhood?
Here in my home, I take leadership as a priority, meaning my role and my responsibility in the family, mine, because my wife has her role and I have my role, and God has given me my role as well as hers, but it's my job to be the watchman. It's my job to lead by example. You fathers, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get old, they won't depart from it. So there's a lot of responsibility put on me to make sure I'm where I need to be in the home. And actually, a lot of people say men are on top. But men are really on bottom.
That's right.
Because the man is the foundation in which everything is built upon. See, the wives and women can do their part when the foundation and the structure is solid. You take that in any house in this particular neighborhood, and the foundation is the most important part. Don't matter what the shingles and the roof, what the brick and all that look like, but if the foundation is no good, it ain't going to last long. First storm come through and it's going to get wiped out. It could be a light one. So I look at my responsibility in the home that way, and ensuring that the foundation of our home is established and solid so that my wife can blossom like she's supposed to blossom, and our children can see us in a marriage relationship and be an example to them. So when they leave the house, we've given them years of training and visuals to see what it's like to have a healthy household.
And going back to the foundation there, I was just thinking about Adam, the first man on earth to walk the earth itself. Of course, we know he had that deep, dear personal relationship with God. But when it comes to the flesh, there was nobody else that he can see as another man to help him grow and be that foundation. So let me ask you this. As you were coming into fatherhood, manhood, who was helping you become stronger to be that foundation?
I'm glad you asked that question, because a lot of people perceive that my father was home. He was not. I have never lived one day with my dad, other than a 2-week Christmas break when I was maybe in middle school, went to go see him for a couple of weeks. But far as seeing him in the home, he wasn't there. Now, I had, of course, back in the early 70s, mid to early 80s, all of my uncles and my grandfather, everybody was there. Before the internet boom and everybody just started going and moving everywhere, all of my uncles were there in town, you know, and then on both sides of my family, my mom and dad's family. So I saw men. It just wasn't in the standpoint of being in the home. Outside the home, I saw them when they come visit. We eat, we fish, barbecue, whatever like that. And I seen them as an example of how to be a man. And so that particular part just continued to develop, because I really didn't miss my dad when I was growing up. I didn't know what it was. I really didn't know no better. Less of lack of a better term. I really didn't know no better. I saw men, but I knew my mama was working 2 jobs. She was playing the piano at Pastor Walker Church, at Lighthouse Church. And then she was going to the can plant to work during the day, and then she was going to choir rehearsal and playing on Sundays. That's what I saw.
Wow.
You know, and I have 3 brothers. It's 4 of us. You know, and my mama remarried when I was in about the 5th grade, and then was divorced in about the 10th grade. And my stepdad was there for a period of time. But, you know, I really had to, I really didn't miss him, like a lot of people would say. My dad, I love my dad. We got a great relationship. We have a great relationship now, but I really didn't miss him coming up. And God placed people in my way to show me what it was to be a man. And I think being a man, in this particular sense, I saw males and I saw men. I knew they were different from women.
Right.
But the part of the structure in the home I did not see, because my mom was divorced, remember?
That's right.
So I didn't see. I saw them outside the house, but for us in the house, get your homework, you know, go take that trash out. You know, those kind of things, I didn't see that unless my uncles came over. I was staying with my grandmother. So I'm going to get into another part when we talk about as I developed as a teenager, the people that came into my life. I get into that part. Maybe with another question so that I don't talk too long, and I can tell you about that part.
Well, let me ask this, as we're talking about foundation here, or not foundation, but more so the men that influenced or were not there to influence your life. A thought had came to me the other day in regards to when Jesus was speaking to the disciples, and he asked the question of, who do people say that I am? And they answered these various names.
Yep.
And, of course, he came to Peter. Peter's telling him, you know, you're the Son of Man, et cetera, et cetera. What I saw in that was that, of course, Jesus knew his identity. But all those other men did not. Right. And the surrounding people didn't know identity as well. So in that absence, unfortunately, of father, how did you come to know your identity?
Yep, here we go. Now, here we go. So, man, I had developed a burning desire to be something that I didn't see growing up. And that was a good father to my children. Yes. And to be there and raise my children in a wholesome household with my wife and I and our children. Because all of my aunts and uncles have been divorced. See? Okay. For one reason or another, whoever fault, whatever happened. And so I didn't really see a true wholesome household coming up in that sense. Now, you had some people that took care of their kids, treated right, but in terms of being in a household, didn't have it. Let me tell you what really stuck with me growing up, The Cosby Show. I
Yes,
wanted to
we
be
remember.
Cliff Huxtable.
Yes.
Because when I saw Cliff Huxtable, then I looked at our house, something was missing. It was Huxtable. The man, something was missing. So I had a burning desire to be something that I didn't see. Now that sounds crazy. How can I be something I didn't see? I wasn't ignorant of it, but I knew. I had some friends where their mama and daddy were both there because I don't know if relationship helped, and I knew they were there.
Right.
You know, at the house, and so I wanted to have that when I grew up. You know, long before I got married, long before I even graduated from high school, any of that, I had a burning desire to be something I didn't see. And let me tell you what happened. Met a gentleman by the name of Brother Herb Spady. He passed away a couple of years ago now. He passed away, but he took me under his wing. This is why it's important that we mentor and we show other people. He took me under his wing when he didn't have to. He was a pastor of a church that was not far from us, and he took me under his wing and showed me the way. And he taught me about Christ more so because my mama, remember, she played my whole side of my mom's family has a relationship with Christ. I don't want to say religious or spiritual. Have a relationship with Christ. And so as I was growing up, God placed people in my path that showed me the way. Pastor Spady and his wife, he also has 2 daughters and a son, and he took me under his wing as if I was his own man. We did anti-drug rallies where we went in the community, rode bikes, things like that. I saw him and his wife. I saw him getting to the church. I saw him in there with his kids. I mean, I saw this, and man, it just made me want it even the more.
And what better relationship, or let me not even say relationship, a way to be introduced to manhood by someone that was the head of the church, that had
Pastor.
God in his life.
South Long Beach Bible
and a
Fellowship.
father to a couple of people as well in his house, but the whole congregation to say, you know what, I want you to come into my household. Say, let me raise you.
Right.
And that is something I feel as men we need today. But we're about to get into that. We're going to take a break and come back to talking about that manhood because that's important.
All right. That'll work.
All right, guys, we'll be right back.